Good morning, ladies. I'm jumping on here today because I've been trying to kind of wrap my brain around how can I relay the message of how I got out of burned out mode and feeling stuck and isolated and overwhelmed, and what did I do exactly to get out of that, right? So there are a number of things that I did over the course of really a couple of years. So it wasn't something that happened just in an instant where I said, today I'm not overwhelmed and isolated. It didn't happen that simple. But what I wanted to jump on here today is really it started with one very important first step. And if you're just coming on, make sure to say hi. I only see names popping up on the bottom, and let me know if this resonates with you. Give me a thumbs up, give me some hearts, let me know in the comments below if this resonates with you, right? So when I was feeling stuck and overwhelmed and so isolated by the special needs world where I felt like nobody else could relate, and I was essentially on my own to figure this thing out, this new path in life, I guess, if you want to call it that. The one thing now in retrospect that I can tell you that was what made the biggest change, made the biggest mindset shift for me and allowed me to move forward, was to look at myself and ask myself, how well am I receiving help? Or receiving anything in general. I felt like there was nobody out there who could help, right? So I felt like I'm it. I'm this person who has to take care of Wyatt, and my husband goes out and brings in some income to keep a roof over our head, but essentially I was the only one who could take care of Wyatt because his care was so individual and so complex that how could I possibly get anybody else to help me with that? So I was so focused on the only way I can get help is if somebody comes in and takes over Wyatt's care altogether. And I knew that wasn't possible. So I essentially blocked off the idea of being able to receive any kind of help completely because I couldn't see past the big picture, past the big scope of what I was dealing with on a day-to-day basis, right? So let me know if this resonates with you, if this is kind of where your mind is at right now, where in your ideal world you want somebody to just come in and take over completely so you can take a break and breathe and take a shower and do whatever it is that makes you feel like a human being again. That's essentially where I was at. So it came down to one day I was just completely sitting on the floor crying, and I was overwhelmed with everything. I couldn't make the simplest decisions on what to make for dinner, what to buy at the grocery store, what kind of clothes to wear today. I couldn't make any of those simple decisions because I was so overwhelmed with everything else that was going on that it was like a little bit of this, I guess, light bulb effect of, if I expect somebody to come in and just rescue me from the situation that I'm in, somebody to just take over my life so I could go off and live my own life, that was the mindset I had. And that is crazy now in retrospect if I think about it, because my life is what it is. Nobody can take that over for me. Nobody can just jump in and take charge for me. And then at the same time, what hit me in that moment was, I don't allow anybody else to help. And that's the receiving part that I wanted to jump on here and talk to you ladies about. How good are you at receiving? At receiving compliments? That's a big one for me. I suck at receiving compliments. I'm not gonna lie. It's something I'm working on every single day. I'm not great at it. At receiving help, how good are you at receiving help? When an offer is made, do you automatically say yes, or do you automatically turn it down and give some big reason on why you can't accept that help? And then also, even the simplest things of receiving small gifts, whether that's somebody who's willing to bring you dinner for the family, or somebody who's giving you a gift just for the heck of giving you a gift. I'm not good at either one of these three. Just for transparency's sake, I am not good at either one of these three, and it's a continuous effort for me to acknowledge that I struggle with it and therefore work on it. It's a matter of practice, really. But that's what it came down for me as the number one thing I had to work on to get out of this overwhelm that I was in, out of this feeling like I'm isolated. It's me against the world, and nobody understands what my world in this house where I was stuck for the first couple of years feels like. I wasn't letting anybody come in and help because I was so focused on, well, if you can't take over my life completely, then your help isn't worth it. And I didn't mean it in that way. I wasn't trying to be all or nothing. It's just my head was so overwhelmed with everything else. I couldn't think about ways I needed help with the small things. I couldn't formulate what I needed help with. And the reason why I couldn't do that is because I couldn't receive it in the first place. It's not that the offers weren't there, because they were. But I didn't know how to receive it. I didn't know how to accept the help. And simply say thank you. And that's really, it sounds so silly now in retrospect, but that is literally what changed everything for me moving forward. And it started with going to the grocery store and actually accepting the help when somebody offered to help me with my groceries to my car because I had my son in tow and his medical gear. It used to always be, no, I got it. The strong front. You know what I'm talking about, right? Give me a thumbs up if you know exactly what I'm talking about. You put on the strong front of, I got this. When internally, you're screaming for help, you just don't know how to express it. So for me, that also came down to saying thank you in general for anything. I always felt like I had to give an explanation. Like if somebody's giving me a compliment, then I would self-sabotage. I would totally flip that compliment around and negate it somehow. Say, for example, somebody was saying I was doing a good job with Wyatt. I would negate it by saying, well, I'm just doing what I have to do. When all I really needed to do was say, thank you. It's that simple to start shifting your mindset around where you start to focus more on the positive rather than the negative. Same with the store. Instead of saying, I got it, what's the harm in letting that person help me to the car and help me put my groceries in while I have my kid on the vent with me? All I had to say was, sure, thank you. So for me to come out of the overwhelm and the isolation and the feeling stuck, I had to move forward and simply say thank you. It sounds ridiculous in my head now that I couldn't understand that concept, but by me always putting up that strong front and always saying, I got this, and you shouldn't have, and I was setting myself up. I was setting myself up to having to do it all on my own because I didn't let anybody in. Now, how to ask for help, that's a whole nother topic, and I'll go into that on a different video, but I was essentially setting myself up for not receiving any help because I right away blocked it. And I didn't mean to. It didn't cross my mind on why I was doing that. I never analyzed why I was doing that. And part of it, in retrospect, is probably the way I grew up. I'm German. I'm born and raised in Germany, and a cultural part is that you do not express when you need help, and receiving help is considered a sign of weakness, and you do not talk about your personal life much at all. It's not like in this country, in the US, where you just talk about your day and it's no big deal. So I grew up with the understanding of you had to have this strong front. You had to be in control. You had to be able to manage it all. So from a cultural standpoint, I didn't know any better. I didn't know that it was okay to ask for help and it was okay to accept it, and it doesn't make you any less worthy of who you are or what you're doing. I literally didn't know any better. So when that's what you grow up with and that's all you know, to then change your mindset to say, you know what, from this point forward, I'm just going to say thank you. and I'm going to accept help. That was a big deal. And to this day, I'm not completely comfortable with it. To this day, I'm fighting it in my head, and I'm saying, all these conversations are going on in my head, right? As the employee at the grocery store offers me to push the cart to my car and help me with my groceries, I want to say, oh no, I got it. I'm making myself say, sure, thank you. When somebody gives me a compliment, in my head, I'm still reasoning my way out of that compliment. Like I don't deserve it. So I'm making myself say, thank you. And that's literally what started the process of getting out of that overwhelm and out of feeling isolated, because once you accept even tiny little gestures like that, the possibilities open up for you on, maybe I can get help with this. Maybe I don't need somebody to come in and take over Wyatt's care altogether. Maybe I just need somebody to listen. Somebody to help me with my daily chores. Somebody to pick up my other kid from their activity and me not feeling guilty about it for asking. So it starts, for me personally, it started with simply saying thank you to a compliment, to a gift of some sort, or to any kind of offer of help. And accepting it does not mean that I can't do all these things on my own. I can when I have to, but why should I have to? The feeling of having to do everything on my own is what got me isolated and overwhelmed and stuck and burned out in the first place. So I'd like you to consider that for a minute. Does that resonate with you? Let me know in the comments. Let me know with a thumbs up whether this is something that you can relate to, whether that is something you're struggling with. And I will go into how to actually ask for help as well in a different video. But the first step is really asking yourself is, how good are you at receiving help? How good are you at just saying thank you without an explanation afterwards, without reasoning your way out of it, without feeling guilty for receiving a compliment or a gift or help of any kind? How good are you at that? Because for most of us, we're great at giving all the time, right? Giving to our family, giving to our kids, doing everything possible for especially our special needs kids. We will go out there and change the world for them. But how good are we really at receiving anything back? And that's what I struggled with the most. And that's what I still have to work on every single day. I have to give myself this pep talk every single day. Not always on video, like I'm doing right now, but I have to give myself that pep talk, because it's okay to receive help. It's okay to receive a kind gesture. It's okay to receive a compliment. There is nothing wrong with it. It doesn't make you any less worthy. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't mean you can't handle life as is. It just is what it is. Just take it for what it is and don't overthink it. So I hope that resonated with some of you ladies. I wanted to share that with you because that was the biggest thing that I first had to overcome in my own head. The help was there, I just wasn't taking it. I didn't know how to receive it. And from there, it kind of started the snowball effect of I was accepting compliments, I was accepting help in small ways, whether that's as simple as, hey, can you fold my laundry for me? To, yes, please help me with my groceries to my car. And from there, I just saw more possibilities of not having to feel stuck, not having to do it all on my own. And then from there, I could actually figure out, what is it that I really want help with? What is it that I want? What is it that I need? And how do I express that? And then in return, also receive it again. So I hope that's helpful for you ladies. I will talk to you in my group, Momentum, Empowering Special Needs Moms, or of course you can shoot me a message or check out my website. Talk to you ladies soon.